We had ChatGPT book the Rumble and WrestleMania. I'm Will, that's Brandon. We are the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling podcast. As always, let's cheers, talk about some wrestling.
Yeah, some people might say ChatGPT is maybe overused, whether you're doing a book report or a cover letter, or you're just asking questions. AI seems to kind of be growing and growing and growing and growing. So let's take a wrestling spin on things. Why not?
WWE's involving. They're going to Netflix. They're no longer on cable TV for Raw for the first time ever. We obviously are very known for technical difficulties and learning our way through this whole podcasting stuff for the first time. We have never touched ChatGPT, but have always been intrigued by the idea of ChatGPT and what the hell it can do. So we were playing around with it, and I decided to ask it a bunch of questions. I got ChatGPT to go over the entire history of WWE. And I asked it questions to make sure it knew what we were talking about. And I asked a bunch of just kind of storyline stuff. And it was able to just repeat it right back to me. There were a couple hiccups. It kept one edge in everything.
That's just disappointing.
It did everything.
Thumbs down, drop, ChatGPT.
Yeah, ChatGPT with the drop. I had to explain over and over again. I was like, look at the current roster. Edge is not a part of it. And it was every time it was like, oh, I'm sorry, I will correct that. Edge is no longer a part as of this date. And I was like, yeah, we'll keep learning. Anyway, like we said, we did have ChatGPT book the Rumble, book WrestleMania, but I also want to go over a bunch of the other stuff that we had ChatGPT guess on and talk about in the WWE. We had it rank a bunch of stuff. Mm-hmm. So we're just going to discuss it. I asked ChatGPT, based on current storylines within the WWE, rank the top 5 superstars and give reasons why they are better than the previously ranked superstar. I didn't include the reasoning behind it because, the thing churns out.
It goes and goes and goes,
bro. Who do you think the top 5 superstars were currently that ChatGPT ranked? I'll read them off as you go to see if you get any right.
It's got to be a Gunther.
No Gunther on the list.
There's no Gunther.
Honorable mention was Gunther. He was at 6.
6. Okay, you kind of give me that.
Also, at the end of each question I asked ChatGPT, I put, please include 2 honorable mentions. So Gunther was one of the honorable mentions.
Gunther's one of them. Okay. Yeah. Current storyline: Rhea Ripley.
Rhea Ripley was not in the top 5
not
current.
On there.
She wasn't even honorable mention.
That's tragic. Okay.
And it had reasoning behind all these answers. It was based off of this redemption story. And
not a Rhea Ripley fan. Let's go with everybody's favorite, Cody.
Cody Rhodes is number 1.
Oh.
It gave all these reasons. It was he is a top line merch seller and he won the championship against Roman Reigns.
You hear that? Peanut and Peasy? You hear that?
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes. Roman Reigns.
2.
Roman Reigns is 2. Okay. So you got Roman, you got Cody, Jay.
Jay was at 4.
Jay's at 4. Okay. 3, a male or a female?
The top 5 are all males.
Oh.
The only woman that was in honorable mention was Bianca Belair.
Okay. Based off storyline.
So you got Cody
Kevin
at
Owens.
1. No Kevin Owens. You had Cody at 1, Roman
Solo.
at 2, Jay at 4, no Solo Sikoa.
Drew, Seth
at 3.
Seth's at 3.
One more at 5. You'll never guess it.
Okay, yeah.
Braun Breaker.
Okay. Well, that's definitely not based off storyline because he didn't really have a storyline because he hadn't been on TV.
ChatGPT's top 5 current superstars based off story are Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Jey Uso, and Braun Breaker.
Sounds like a great Survivor Series team.
Yeah. I went into history because obviously it's better at history is what I found out. It can read, it can read all of wrestling history more than it can current day stuff because I found out by asking it can't actually break down the video. It can't break down. I asked it what happened on Raw this week and it was kind of I can't really tell you because I can't watch it. And I was like, oh, okay.
That makes sense too because if it's ChatGPT is built off articles and things like that, right? It just makes sense that history.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Anyway, I said review all of WWE history and rank the top 5 moments within WWE history. And please give your reasoning for the placement as well. I'll give you the honorable mentions for ChatGPT's best moments in wrestling history.
Dolph Ziggler cash in.
Exactly.
Should be on there.
It had Hogan versus Rock at Mania 18 and Mankind versus Undertaker Hell in a Cell match, King of the Ring 1998. But listen to this, because you'd be guessing all day, right? I'll give you 3 guesses to get any of them right.
Is Shawn super kicking Flair at Mania?
No.
Damn. Thought that one would have been on there. Evolution turning on Randy Orton. Damn, I thought that. I
The
like
history of wrestling.
that. I like those two.
You know how long wrestling? You know how many shows there have been of wrestling? WWE history. It's not.
Hogan slamming Andre.
You got number one overall. You got number one. Listen to this list. This is what ChatGPT said are the 5 best moments in WWE history. Number 5, Undertaker Mania streak ends at 30. Number 4, The Rock takes on John Cena at WrestleMania 28. You had number 3, the Montreal Screwjob, Survivor Series 97.
Why did I not guess that?
And number 2, you have the Austin 316 promo, King of the Ring 96. Yeah. I don't know why I said yeah. And then you have number 1, like you just said, Hogan slamming Andre, WrestleMania 3. That's a solid list.
It's a solid list. Once you name those top 5, it's like, you know what? I don't know what I was doing guessing Evolution turning on Randy Orton.
Yeah, greatest moments ever.
I like that moment though.
Okay,
that's a special place in my heart. Maybe that's why I said it, you know.
I'll disagree with The Rock versus John Cena. The Rock versus John
Cena.
Cena.
I mean, that one can come off, but the other 4, Shawn Michaels retiring Ric Flair, I feel like should be on there.
Are there any like moments that have happened in the past 5 years that should be
5 years?
Yeah, because it definitely ChatGPT struggled during the like current era of wrestling. I would say over the last like 3 years specifically, it was having trouble like deciphering what's going on. So like, has there been any moments within the last 5 years that you think should go into this ChatGPT list?
Not anything going.
That's what I was thinking. I mean, I think people are going to try to put like the end of WrestleMania 40 into the top.
I think that's the only one that you could argue, but I think that's so far off the list. I mean, that just doesn't make any sense, you know?
Yeah. I started talking about heels with it. I wanted to see if it knew the difference between a heel and a face, if it knew the lingo. And it was, I was like, okay, name a couple WWE faces and what they did to turn, or a couple heels and what they did to turn heel. And then it listed off like 20 heel turning moments. So I was like, okay, well, you understand what a heel turn is, Mr. ChatGPT or Mrs. ChatGPT or Mr. Robo ChatGPT. So I said, review all of WWE history once again and rank the top 5 heel turns in all of WWE history. Please include reasoning for each choice and provide at least 2 honorable mentions. Can you guess any of them?
Is WCW in this too, or is it
WCW does count.
So Hogan
was 1.
Hogan's got to be on.
Bash at the Beach.
Got to be on there. Seth Rollins?
No Seth Rollins.
Ooh, I was thinking maybe.
I'm giving you 3 strikes, so you got 1. You got one hit.
That's 1 strike. Oh, God, the pressure is enormous in this. Austin at Mania?
Austin at Mania. Number 3, heel turn at Mania 17.
God, heel turn in moments. Let's go.
You might be able to get this whole thing if you really think about it.
Well, see, we don't have enough time for that. My brain doesn't work that fast.
So you have number 1 and number 3, and then you have 1 strike.
That's tragic. Yeah, we don't want to waste the time. Go ahead. Tell me the other ones.
Honorable mentions. We have Randy Orton turning on Benoit, Survivor Series 2004. We have Triple H turning on China, Survivor Series 99. Number 5 of the ChatGPT top heel turns. Number 5 is Rock heel turn, Survivor Series 98. He starts the Nation of Domination.
See, okay.
This one was weird. I let ChatGPT have it. I let him have it. Number 4, they put Bret Hart, Survivor Series 97, the Montreal Screwjob. They explained it of him doing the big heel turn of turning on WWE and heading to WCW.
Oh,
so while it's not,
so that's how they
So it wasn't specific storyline.
So you would say ChatGPT said Bret screwed Bret.
Brett
is what you would say.
No, they would say that Bret screwed WWE because he turned.
But it's Bret Hart's fault, basically.
Yeah, I mean, kind of.
Yeah,
like you said, Stone Cold Steve Austin heel turn on Vince McMahon or with Vince McMahon at Mania 17, 2001. Number 2. Shawn Michaels super kicks Marty Jannetty. Survivor Series 1992. And then number 1, Hulk Hogan. Obviously, he turns heel at WCW Bash at the Beach. NWO begins. All that good stuff. So
it's a fair list.
It really is.
I mean, obviously, the one outlier being the Bret to WCW. But I guess if you think about the logic wise, you're like, yeah, you know what? I could see why ChatGPT does that.
We'll do. I'm gonna do one more before we get to why we're here, Rumble and WrestleMania. But I wanted to know Mount Rushmore.
Ooh, that's something we haven't talked about on here yet.
So I was probably an hour and a half into conversing with this ChatGPT about wrestling history at this point, and it had an understanding, man. I felt like I was talking to a wrestling fan. It was a little creepy, I'm not gonna lie. It blew my mind, but I said, please, I always say, please review all of WWE history once again. I always remind it to skim everything we just did and provide your Mount Rushmore of WWE superstars. I said, please provide reasoning for each choice and also provide at least 2 honorable mentions. Please give reasoning for why each honorable mention was not better than the superstar you put at number 4. And it did give me some pretty good ones, but it ended up not understanding what Mount Rushmore meant. It gave me a top 5.
Okay, that's fair.
So ChatGPT listed its top 5 WWE superstars of all time. Can you guess them?
Well, see, now you're kind of asking me to go within mine. So
you get 3 strikes and you're
on
out.
The spot.
So
Hogan.
Well, base it off of every. Yeah.
So Hulk Hogan.
Okay, you got number 1.
Stone Cold.
Number 2.
Undertaker.
Number 5.
Ooh, that's 5.
Think about people.
I saw somebody's list the other day that had Shawn Michaels on it.
Number 4.
That's 4.
You are 1 away from guessing the top 5 ChatGPT superstars ever.
God, well, if they love Bret Hart, did they put Bret Hart at 3?
They put Bret Hart as an honorable mention at number 7.
Oh, okay. That, you know what? That's fair.
So you got 1 strike there.
So 3. Did they didn't put Flair because we haven't talked about Flair, right?
They did not put Flair.
So I'm gonna go with but you've mentioned The Rock a bunch. Did they put The Rock at 3?
Number 3.
They put The Rock at 3.
You just nailed it. All of the top 5 ChatGPT superstars of all time. Can you guess the one other superstar that they had at number 6?
Oh, like an honorable mention?
Yeah, you already have number 7 too. So you're missing 1. You're missing number 6. I don't think you'll get it.
Oh God, you don't think I'll get it? Well, now I feel like I'll have to get it. Dusty Rhodes.
Nope.
Damn it.
Yeah, 1 more. That's 2 strikes.
You can't give me a hint.
No. How would I? You can't explain.
Give me a hint. Give me a hint.
You can't.
What era? What era? That's all you gotta say.
Basically all
eras.
Almost all after Hogan Andre era, and he kind of
Vince McMahon.
He's been a huge part of almost every era of wrestling except for the very beginnings.
No clue.
Continues to be a huge part.
No clue. Triple H.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. How was I going to explain that without it?
Golly. Okay.
So while
my list isn't terrible, now I would tweak it, but
yeah,
The Rock at 3 is kind of crazy.
Ooh, we can't get into we haven't done our big.
That's why I said we can't.
Rushmore.
That's why I said.
Anyway, while we're here, so I already established that it knows a lot about wrestling history. At this point, I already asked it about. I had it summarize as much of the current storylines as possible to make sure it understood kind of how things were going within current day WWE. Again, the closer we got to the current day, the more it was kind of like, eh. I say that it was pretty up to date as of like mid-December. After that, it kind of had a little bit of a fall off.
Well, that's not terrible.
No, and it kind of
it's right around the corner.
It kind of had a little bit of a fall off in that aspect. But I said
ChatGPT doesn't have Netflix.
No, it doesn't have Netflix. Actually, it legit doesn't. So I said what happened on Raw this week, and it was like I couldn't watch it. Basically, it was like I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
doesn't subscribe.
Yeah. I said, please review the current storylines once again within the WWE up to today's date. Based off of current storylines, who should win the men and women's Royal Rumble matches? Have any idea?
Based off storyline.
Yeah.
Well, you said based off storylines.
I'm just going to give you one guess.
They had Braun Breaker as a top 5 superstar based off. Give me Braun Breaker.
No.
Damn.
This one made sense. For the men's Rumble, ChatGPT had Seth Rollins winning the Royal Rumble.
Okay.
Women's.
Oh, God. Liv Morgan.
No. Close. Not really. Bianca Belair.
It's not close at all.
I mean, kind of. They're top women within the WWE. I mean, Anyway, so it predicted Seth Rollins and it predicted Bianca Belair, but I asked him specifically. I said John Cena is on his farewell tour and he has announced that he's going to go for the Royal Rumble. Why won't he win and who will eliminate him?
Oh, okay.
And ChatGPT gave me a pretty logical answer here.
Okay, I'm intrigued now.
It's not.
I don't hate the two winners, so like now I want to know what they.
It has one flaw. Something would have to happen in order for this to even come true. But it does actually make a little bit of sense compared to what people are expecting one of their Mania matches to maybe be.
Okay. I have no idea.
ChatGPT predicted that Mr. Gunther would eliminate John Cena. It gave me a number. He would be the 26th elimination of the match.
So he'd be
final four.
Final four, final five.
He'd be final four in the ring.
And Gunther, so then you'd have to have Punk or somebody take, or Jey Uso, Saturday Night Main Event, take the title off Gunther.
You'd have to have, or Gunther defends his title back-to-back weeks and somehow it ends up in the Royal Rumble match. Do I see that happening? Nah. I said, follow-up question. Please review all the current storylines once again, based off the current storylines that you have predicted as well. What should be the two main events of WrestleMania 41? And it was logical.
It was logical.
It was logical. It had Cody Rhodes taking on Seth Rollins for the undisputed title, so it understood that the winner of the Royal Rumble gets an immediate title shot at WrestleMania against the current champion.
And I wonder if that. Did you give reasoning at all? Did I give reasoning about like them having history? Because like that's another thing that like without ChatGPT, like they don't know that. You know what I mean?
I should have printed out all of what it said because I could have at least had it here. I was just scared that we'd get it take an hour to read all of it.
I mean, that's a fair point.
But it did. It gave a bunch of reasoning
because they have history. You could talk about it at least.
It mentioned their Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah, Hell in a Cell, and then obviously Seth helping out Cody last year with the tag match at least like that. Honestly, I wouldn't hate that match.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Wouldn't hate it.
And then it had Rhea Ripley taking on Bianca Belair for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Wouldn't hate it. I think we're about a year too early. I think that's probably next year. But I mean, you talk about like a mega match, right? Like in terms of the women's side, you have maybe the two best women in-ring wrestlers of all time go at it.
Yeah.
Sign me up. They already hinted at it a while back when Rhea and Bianca had that stare off when they each had the team at Survivor Series.
ChatGPT should book WrestleMania, it looks like.
They can book better than some of us.
Right. I mean, those are two banger matches. I also asked it, I said, this is John Cena's final WrestleMania. Based off current storylines, please review all current storylines within WWE up to 115 and take into account your Royal Rumble predictions asked previously. Who should be John Cena's WrestleMania opponent? And should he win? Guess what it said?
Orton. No. Orton or Punk. It's one of the two.
Nope, and nope.
Did it say Gunther? Because Gunther eliminates him?
There was one funny answer that I had, and then I had to make it redo it. Edge.
Of course.
I was like, you son of a bitch, I told you 10 minutes ago.
Cope.
Yeah, Cope. No, that was not, but that was not
I tell you though, if he was here, if he was in WWE, he'd sign me up. Why not?
It had John Cena facing Sheamus.
Oh.
So it didn't take it made a very logical decision in the Royal Rumble for Gunther to eliminate him.
Yeah.
But it didn't follow it up with like a logical storyline from Rumble to WrestleMania.
They just said Sheamus and Cena fought each other in the past before. Yeah, let's do it again.
I mean, you could have Sheamus win the Intercontinental Championship.
That's what I was about to say. You could have him win at Saturday Night Main Event. You could have John challenge for that at Mania. You could technically do that.
There's history between Sheamus and John Cena. It would be a banger of a match.
You could technically do that. Now, like, I don't think any of that's going to happen. I don't think Sheamus is going to beat Braun Breaker. But at the same time now, I'm kind of like, as long as Sheamus wins it, let it be John Cena.
That'd be kind of cool.
Like, why not?
Yeah. And I asked it one more thing. I asked it to book the entire WrestleMania card. And I won't lie, it made kind of almost no sense. Like, Jey Uso was booked, but so were the Usos. And
double duty. There's two nights.
And Cody Rhodes was booked to fight twice. And they had Braun Strowman versus Brock Lesnar on there. I mean, sure, I guess. But given current storylines, it just doesn't make much sense. So I changed up the question. And I asked it, who are all the current champions? And it told me it understood who all the current champions are within the WWE and stuff like that. And I asked it, like, how many days out are we from WrestleMania? How many events do we have until WrestleMania? And then understood how many events. And so I was like, okay, well, you kind of get it. And I said, so I asked it to please review its Royal Rumble picks, and it told me this is what I picked. And I said, please review your WrestleMania main event picks. And it reviewed what I said. And so then I asked it, again, after all of this, please review all that we've talked about and all current storylines within the WWE up to today's day, based off of current storylines and what you have predicted. Who should walk out of WrestleMania as the champions? And it didn't list any tag team champions.
Okay.
It listed no tag team champions.
Okay.
But I'll let you guess one by one. Women's U.S. champion. It gave me matches too. It gave me who defeats who.
Oh,
it gave me who defeats who.
Okay, well, Chelsea Green, I think, holds that belt.
No, Chelsea Green's not a part of the U.S. title scene at this point. ChatGPT thinks the women U.S. title, Shayna Baszler's going to defeat Naomi.
PFC, sign me up.
Even ChatGPT is a fan of PFT,
Come
baby.
on.
ChatGPT, PFT, baby. Chat PFT, baby. Now, how about the men's U.S. title? Men's U.S. title.
LA Knight. No.
You would think. So I was hoping that you'd catch on. No.
Yeah.
I thought you. No. I already asked it.
Yeah, I know, but I don't have an answer.
Who's going to be John Cena's opponent? And U.S. title, Sheamus defeats John Cena and Braun Breaker.
For the U.S. title?
Yeah.
Not the IC title.
Not the U.S. title, or not the IC title. So I was like, it had already reviewed everything, so a lot would have to happen there. Intercontinental title makes no sense either, a little bit. And I was trying to make it rethink. I was really trying to, like, I went through this list of matches that it said like 5 times trying to get it to correct its mistakes, and it just wouldn't.
Just wouldn't do it.
Intercontinental title, it has Gunther defeating Jey Uso. So Gunther has to lose the championship.
So it's like a year behind.
Yeah, it's like a year behind in this aspect. So which ones have we done? Okay.
So now we need the women's and men's main card. We need
the women's IC.
Oh, yeah.
Women's IC. Who do you think gets it?
Well, if Shayna Baszler won, you get Zoe Stark. No. Keep the PFC rolling.
It did have Becky Lynch, but it had Becky Lynch defeating Bayley for the IC title.
Oh.
Then we'll do all the main titles. So the women's WWE Undisputed Championship, so SmackDown's title. Who do you think?
Charlotte Flair.
It does. Who does she beat?
Probably not Tiffy.
Tiffy.
You said Naomi was in the mid card earlier?
Yeah.
Oh, God, that would have probably been my pick. Piper Niven.
Asuka.
Oh, okay. So it is. So it's like 2 years behind.
Right.
3 years behind.
I was like, you're on to something. If this
got some stuff.
If it was 2022.
It was a long time ago.
You'd be cooking. Men's World Heavyweight Championship. This one I was extremely impressed with. I don't think it's going to happen. I think we're far away. But this one proved that it does understand current storylines within WWE. Not even ones that deal in championship. But the Men's World Heavyweight Championship, ChatGPT said Finn Balor defeats Damian Priest.
Oh, so it understands storyline. Okay.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah. I mean, that's...
I don't even know how we would get there. But, I mean, I think a lot of people would actually be kind of happy if Finn Balor...
Finn said, you know what? Screw it. He gets Liv Morgan's rematch clause. That's what it is.
So the last two...
So you have Cody and Seth.
Yep.
And you have... I'm going to say Seth.
Cody Rhodes defeats Seth Rollins.
Cody always wins.
And then Rhea and Bianca. Who wins that match?
Bianca.
Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley.
Well, I do see at least Rhea retaining that title after Mania, no matter probably who it is. Cody Rhodes is Cody Rhodes. So that also makes sense.
So at this point, I had ChatGPT give us all these lists. It booked the Royal Rumble winners. It booked WrestleMania winners. It did everything. I had to ask it one more question. I said, I did the same thing. Review everything.
Yeah.
And I said... I said, knowing all this and all your previous predictions and outcomes, who should be the man to retire John Cena in December of 2025? And it gave me 4 names.
Okay.
I got to give you one that's
Giovanni Vinci.
I got to give you one that's funny because I swear to God, this is how it wrote it. No, this is how it wrote it. It said, I'm not lying. It said Bray Wyatt if healthy and active.
Oh,
I was like,
tragic.
ChatGPT. Dude.
That's tragic.
R.I.P. Bray, but I thought that was an absolutely funny response.
That's quite tragic.
It has the top 3 people who should retire John Cena in December of next year, or this year, should be Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, LA Knight.
Oh, God.
Terrible.
I don't want any of those.
No, that'd be awful.
I don't want any of those.
ChatGPT should book WrestleMania 5 years ago and never book John Cena's retirement tour.
Yeah, so what would you give ChatGPT as in terms of like a score out of 10?
10.
You give it a 10.
I would give it a 10 out of like, dude,
in terms of like the history, probably.
Dude, I
right?
legitimately had a conversation with this stupid robot on the screen, and I had never interacted with ChatGPT before. I just had heard some things, and I was like, you know what? I have some time. Let's do it. This thing can straight up speak to you. I know we're rambling a little bit, but I even got to the point where I was like, what would ChatGPT do if I put next week on Raw, John Cena and CM Punk are going to argue over who wins the Royal Rumble this year?
Mm-hmm.
Give me a promo. It wrote a promo battle with John Cena and CM Punk going one-on-one in a promo. And it was doing things like CM Punk going, you know, you always say that you can't see me, but we're standing right here. And I know that you never give up, but I'm the best in the world. And it was a little corny, but I was like, damn, it sounds better than the Tiffany Stratton promo last week.
Oh.
Like, dude, it was legit. I wish I could print it out and read it right now, but it was legit. So while it's not 100% active, you know, or accurate and stuff, history-wise, those are pretty good lists.
Yeah, it sounds like it's great for history and maybe some hypothetical stuff in terms of like forward thinking.
It's good for fantasy booking too. You can really go in there and like book a show of Raw. Like it says like the lights dim and John Cena makes his entrance music and all this stuff. So it was a lot of fun to play with. But you know,
I kind of like this for maybe future ideas of future things.
Yeah.
You know, 2K25 is going to come out. Maybe you could ChatGPT book some
promos?
2K25 promos or shows, or you know, you take a roster that you got on the game and put it in there and boom.
Yeah, I mean, this was kind of a risky podcast and video, but I just thought it was so much fun and I wanted to share with all you guys. So if you enjoyed this kind of content and maybe we do this once a month, maybe we have ChatGPT kind of book whatever, predict the outcomes of whatever PLE's next, stuff like that.
Or you could do like a
lot.
Granted, by the time this airs, you know, Rumble's already coming up, but like maybe you do a ChatGPT of like the greatest Royal Rumble ever, of the greatest superstars. Maybe you do that. I don't know.
Yeah. I didn't know it was this extensive, man. I mean, that robot's crazy. But follow us on all of our socials, please. At COD WrestlePod, COD WrestlePod. Listen to us wherever you get your podcast at YouTube, Spotify, Apple, etc. If you want to come talk to us, hit the link tree in our bio. It's got all of our socials. Go follow all of them. Comment on all of our stuff. We love talking to you guys. We have a Discord as well if you want to get more personal and talk to us during the shows. It's great. And we also do live stream watch-alongs on YouTube for Raw, SmackDown, and guess what? Royal Rumble this weekend. So be there. It's going to be absolutely incredible. But I'm Will. That's Brandon. We are the Cousins of Destruction podcast, and we will see you next time.